I've done all of Brighton.
Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. Hope you've been looking after yourselves, looking after each other, pulling your heads in, and all that jazz. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about another horror film. Oh, how we've been spoiled lately. Yes, none other, it is Netflix's new original, Army of the Dead. After a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble by venturing into the quarantine zone for the greatest heist ever. However, they're against a ticking time bomb because the team have to get out as quickly as possible as the government are going to bomb the city. Not only this, but they discover that the zombies inhabiting the city are smarter than previously thought. Bright light city gonna set my soul on nuclear fire in Army of the Dead. That's a synopsis for Army of the Dead, the film that we are reviewing today. It is directed, written by, director of photography, produced by, all that jazz, all of that done by one man. That's right, Zack Snyder. We all know who Zack Snyder is. We were graced with his 4-hour superhero epic a little while back with Justice League, and here he's obviously doing a film that he really wants to do because he's returning back to form. Now, I'll be honest with you, I absolutely love the Dawn of the Dead remake that he did. I think it's in 2004 it came out. Not only is it one of my favourite zombie films of all time, but it's also one of my favourite horror films of all time. That's right, it's in one of my top lists as one of my favourite horror films. That's right, I rank it even above the original because, fuck it, blow me. Yeah, he's DOP here, and I don't know if he's ever done DOP work before. I don't know, didn't research it because who's got time for that shit. And his choice of lighting and shots, in my opinion, I think is quite amazing. I'm just going to call it out. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I dug it. It's gritty, yet colourful. There's some foreground and background shots that are purposely out of focus at times, and then the focus is pulled within the same frame. To me, I just thought it added to the atmosphere of the film. I thought it was extremely cinematic. We open on an awesome introduction scene / opening scene that rivals Zombieland, in my opinion. I thought it was really good. It was very clever and a little bit funny, and the gore was awesome as well. You know me, I've talked about it before on this channel. I love juxtaposing songs with violent scenes, you know, sort of happy songs that don't necessarily suit what's happening on screen. I love when they mash those two together, and this film has it in spades. We meet our protagonist, played by Dave Bautista. This guy's awesome. He obviously knows how to handle action quite well. I mean, he's a wrestler, for fuck's sake. We've seen him as Drax, we've seen him in a James Bond film, and he pops up here and there, and but in this film he handles the emotional stuff quite well. Honestly, I think we're going to see some really good things from Dave Bautista in the near future. I think he's going to have a very credible career. There's obviously tension between him and his daughter in this film, which is kind of the spinal / the heart of this film. Even in the opening scene, or the opening credits, there was another character who was like, it seemed like their motivation was to save their daughter the whole time, and I couldn't help but think that it took me to, you know, what's happened to Zack Snyder and his family a few years back, and you know, it hit in the heart, I have to admit. I don't know if this was therapeutic or anything, or, you know, putting on screen, but it was oddly poetic, which was, yeah, hit close to home, I suppose. Then we're introduced to our Ragtag Team of mercenaries, getting back together for one last ride. I love when films do that, you know, a quarter or half of the film is like recruiting the old team to get back together for this semi-suicide mission. I dig it, and it's done really well here. We're introduced to a plethora of awesome characters, a very diverse cast as well, and honestly, I thought they were great. They had their little quirks, things that made them stand out, their you know, visually, little things that they had. I thought they were awesome. They balanced the badass and the comedy quite well, and I found myself getting attached to them somewhat, which is what you want in a film, because it is a zombie film. You know, some people are going to bite the dust or get bit themselves, and you know what's going to happen, and you sort of want to care for people, and you do. Well, I did anyway, with this Ragtag Team. The one character that did sort of bother me a little bit, not in a bad way, I suppose, just a bit nitpicky here, was the daughter character, the daughter of Dave Bautista. In this, I found she was just a little bit annoying because she's one of these bleeding heart characters, you know, fighting for a cause and stuff like that. Which in real life, these people are great. You know, they do great work, but on screen, everything is amplified, and it just came across as a little whiny to me. Again, not the actress's fault. Thought she was great, but just I think it was the character, the way the character was written. It didn't take the film off the rails or anything like that, but just a little nitpick there, just a little bit annoying. Also, we have to address the surrounding controversy of cutting out a specific male comedian from this film because of scandalous allegations, and then replacing them with a gay female comedian. You went the complete opposite way there, didn't you, Zachy boy? But this character was great, played by, I believe the comedian's name is Tig. She was awesome. It wasn't noticeably obvious that they were inserted into the film with reshoots and re-editing, like green screen or anything like that. Some people probably can spot it better than I can, but I don't know, I thought it was quite seamless and inserted quite well, and the character was great. There was obviously a bit of metaphor hanky-panky going on here with poor refugee characters in a quarantine zone being treated like shit by their government. Ooh, that's a bit close to home right bloody there, isn't it? Like all good sci-fi metaphors, as I've banged on about in the past in this channel, metaphors are great. Also, I had a bit of a feeling this might be a social commentary by Zach with recent things of like quarantine and shutting down the world and stuff. It's always the poor who gets fucked first and the hardest by the government. If this film had an elevator pitch, it would obviously be, hey, let's do a heist movie in Las Vegas, but with zombies, and we're going to use the script and story of James Cameron's Aliens as the blueprint. This film is obviously heavily inspired by James Cameron's Aliens. There's so many nods here, and also characters as well. There's even one particular scene that is a massive homage, if you want to say, to Vasquez's Last Stand from Aliens, red bandana and all. The zombies in this are much smarter than your average undead. That's right, they're quicker, they communicate, and they have a hierarchy of their own, even having a king and queen, if you will. So the stakes are really high in Las Vegas in this one. There's a little bit of political and social commentary in the dialogue with some jokes as well. It wasn't too heavy-handed or cringe-worthy, not eye-roll worthy, that's for sure, but a little bit like, oh, I wonder what you mean by that. I get it, but no, it wasn't completely cringe-worthy, but just, a couple of little things here. It was like, Zachy boy, what are you trying to say here, mate? The makeup effects are pretty good too, surprisingly colourful for a zombie film. They're not the Walking Dead quality, which in my opinion is the gold standard for zombie makeup, but they're pretty good, and they do what they need to for this film and the style of film that it is. The film did feel a little long in certain scenes. I think it needs to cut a little bit, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of certain, just bits and pieces here and there just to keep the pace up. It did drag on a little bit in certain scenes. By all means, it's not a slog. It's just a couple of edits that I went, they could have been trimmed a little bit. This is coming from a guy who just gave us a fucking 4-hour superhero epic. So, he's in his sandbox here having a bit of fun. But, not horrible, but there could have been maybe 15 to 20 minutes trimmed here and there. A couple of long dialogue scenes, but besides that, it was pretty good. There was one reveal that sort of instigated the climax of the film, if you will. I'm not going to spoil it, but when it happened, I was like, oh, you guys are fucked! And it was character motivation, I suppose, to go towards the climax. But then I started thinking about it, dismantling it in my brain, and I was like, hang on, that wouldn't work scientifically. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you really think about it, it's like, I don't know if that would happen or work, and again, scientifically, but I'm sure it can be explained away with government experiments. But, just something I was just like, I don't know if that would work, but not horrible, but it was there. There's some generally tense scenes in this. It has to be. It's a zombie film. The horror was great and not overly used. It was used in the right amount. I think it was awesome. And there's enough action there for action fans too. Bunch of mercs going in for a heist film in Las Vegas with zombies. It is what it is. It's exactly what you fucking get here. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Because there's a big fucking wall around it and it's quarantined. Anyway, that's my review of Army of the Dead. Did I like it? Fuck yes. This is the kind of film that makes my dick hard. I love this sort of stuff. It had everything that I love. A ragtag team of mercenaries, action, horror, fucking zombies, which are my favourite as well like that. It's perfect for me. I love it. It ain't going to win any awards. It ain't highbrow art. But, fuck it. It's a horror film. An action horror film. It was great. Yeah, sure, it was a little bit too much like Aliens at times, but fuck it, who gives a shit? Like I've talked about in this channel before, films that are heavily inspired by other films, I'm not against it. It's okay. I'm calling it out. It just is what it is. Anyway, guys, that's my review of Army of the Dead. I really liked it. Watch it. It's streaming on Netflix right now. It's a Netflix original. Will there be a sequel? I hope so, because it seems to be there. Maybe any zombie film can have a sequel. It's a fucking pandemic. Undead running around the world. Anyway, guys, that's it. Write down below, what is your favourite zombie film or show? I fucking love The Walking Dead and Dawn of the Dead. And there's a plethora of others. Write down below what's your favourite. Please, if you could, give this episode a like. Your love and support keeps this channel alive. And hit that subscribe icon. Welcome to new subscribers. We'd love to have you on board. And as always, stay spooky, kids.